Hello, good morning. Welcome to Sunday Live Discussion Session, where authors and people from the literary field join me, Antra, to discuss about their literary journey. Today, our guest is an acclaimed author. Her name is Neeta Bajoria, who hails from Kolkata, and she is one such person who gave up her established business to pursue her passion for writing. So today we are going to talk about her two books, Urban Chronicles and The Leap. And let me show you the books. This is Urban Chronicles and The Leap. And Urban Chronicle is a graphic novel, and it's a series, and it consists of three short stories. And unlike any comic series, these short stories talk about the contemporary urban life. They talk about each story has this tying emotion of doubt, suspicion, and mistrust, and that's about it. So I'll talk more about Urban Chronicles as well as The Leap. By the way, the Leap is a science fiction, young adult science fiction, so there's more about that. But before that, let me invite Neeta to join me, and then we'll continue the discussion together. So hold on, let me send Neeta the invite to join, and we'll we are having. Hey Neeta.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I already shared a brief about Urban Chronicles, that it's a series, it's an unlike even though it's a graphic novel, it's unlike any comic series, and it talks about contemporary fiction stories, and it talks about life, urban life, and where the ladies are doing all that they need to do. So we'll talk more about this a bit later. But first, I really want to know that you had an established business. You used to be an entrepreneur, but then you gave up your business to pursue your interest, your passion for writing. So would you like to share how this transition has been so far for you?
Thank you so much for this session today. Actually, I always had this passion of writing, but then I never took it very seriously as it was kind of a habit or look just a passion. But then later, when like kind of I was turning 40, then I felt that I should take up this seriously because this is where my interest lied. And I thought that I have, kind of passed half of my life, and now I should do something worthwhile, something which I passionately want to do. So that's the point when I said that I'll have to do away with the business thing, and then I gave the part of my business. I handed over to my brother-in-law, and gradually uh, I took time away from that. The transition was not very smooth because previously, when it was just a hobby, I would just write anytime I feel like and all that. But then, if you're an author and if you have to do something about it, then you'll have to write regularly. So that
Right.
really took time. And previously, I was not getting enough time, or that would be a wrong thing to say. But I didn't know how to chalk out time from my daily routine because being a woman, whatever you do, you have to run your house and your kids, right? So you cannot just neglect that. So I was not able to understand how do I manage writing every day. But then I did manage. I used to have a journal where I used to write every day that okay, this is the time I'm denoting to it. And then I would check if I have done my writing thing as per schedule. And slowly I got into this habit, and now I'm really enjoying it.
And I have read that many of your short stories as well as write-ups have has been published by print magazines and newspapers in India and globally as well. So how does it feel? I'm sure it feels really great, but then how for you? How has it always uh, like who someone who has been writing throughout? How did it feel when you started receiving the acknowledgement?
Yeah, so like as I said that when I used to write previously, I used to write some half pieces. Maybe I wouldn't end it, or I would just somehow, like that. When I started writing professionally, then I wrote some short stories, and then I was thinking that would anybody feel like even reading them? That's the
Reading.
first thing that comes to an author at the beginning. So I started sending them to editors, and then when one of them accepted it, I was so happy that, okay, fine. So the editor thinks it's worth reading and making others read. So that was great feeling. And then it also gave me a lot of confidence that, okay, fine, I write something legible. That means I can continue writing.
You know, talking to you, Nita, it reminds me of my story as well because I also gave up my corporate life to pursue something uh, of my passion because I have been reading
Okay.
since childhood, and then I gave up like similar to you. I was also turned like late 30s and I was also like now I need to do something, so why not continue with my passion? And I was not getting enough time to read, so I thought that I need to give up my job so that I read. And then
Yes,
I'm so glad that it's now fulfilling my sustainability. So
absolutely.
it's like bagal mein chora and so
Yeah, exactly. I
something
mean,
like.
like the time is there, but we have to just carve it out.
Right, right, right. So let me show our friends who have joined us that this is the graphic novel of Nita Bajoria, and it's Urban Chronicles that we are going to talk about. And Nita, I remember one of our first conversation when you said that you did not expect your book to be converted into a graphic novel at the beginning, but then um, the publishers or the publishing house team they felt that it could be converted to a graphic novel. So tell me how your mindset or how what all thoughts went behind converting your book to a graphic novel? How was this idea, and how deliberate was this attempt?
Well, before saying anything, I would like to say that the decision that I took of turning my short stories into graphic novel is one of the best I've ever taken. Previously, how it happened is that I am basically a short story writer, though my first book was a novel. But then before that, also,
Okay.
I was writing short stories. I had got them published in some of the magazines. And then I came across that idea about the leap, and then I started writing. So, in between writing that novel, also, I used to write short stories because short stories is my
Short story.
life.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
then, when the novel got published and all, then I moved on to my short stories, and I thought of publishing a collection of short stories. Now, then what happened is that me and my publisher, we wanted to do something novel, something more interesting, like short
Hmm.
story collection of short stories are very, I mean, they do happen, and they're very regular. Then something happened, and when I went across some people, some of my old friends, and had a talk
Hmm.
with
Hmm.
them, I found that many of them do not read now. I mean, they used to
Hmm.
read,
Hmm.
and they said that no, I we don't read now because we love reading, but we don't have enough time. And reading a prose a book like that, it will demand time and attention. I have so many courses, children's and all that. So that was
Hmm.
very
Hmm.
saddening. I said, this is not good. I mean, why
Hmm.
somebody who has a habit of reading or who love reading, they have to leave reading, especially women. So that struck
Right.
me.
Right.
And I remembered that when we were kids, even if those who doesn't like reading much, they used to read graphic novels. We remembered, when
Hmm.
we
Hmm.
caught up with our old friends, we remembered how we used to read those Hindi comics as well, or Archies,
Hmm. Hmm.
or
Yes.
like
Or
those ones.
tinkle.
A
Right.
Tinkle, exactly.
Yes.
So Asterix and Tintin, and then there was this
right,
Motu Patlu and all this also. So
right.
that struck me somewhere, and I said, what if I convert my stories into graphic novels? Maybe that will attract the readers, I mean the women, and they will find it easier to read, because the pictures are very, like they attract. It's like watching a TV. So like,
Mm,
even women, those who don't read, they do watch TV, right? Because then you get all those in pictures, and it's very attractive. So I thought that
right.
I have to do something. I really wanted to do something so that I can get some of my readers back to reading.
Mm,
So
mm,
that's how the idea came. And then, though there was a little bit of problem, because in India, concept of having adult stories in form of comics is not there.
right.
So like,
Yes,
for
yes.
whenever, exactly. So whenever you talk of comics, people take it as some humorous piece for kids, or it has to be a mythological story or something like that. So, but then this is
Right.
different. So the publisher was also a little bit, they were like hesitant, as if, will people, I mean, take it seriously? But then I was keen on doing this, like, as a new venture. I wanted to bring it across. I said, okay, fine, I'm confident, let's do it.
Mm,
And then
mm,
it
mm.
happened.
Right. So you mentioned it correctly. Like even the Japanese manga or the Japanese graphic novel, they are mostly of fantasy or like superhero action figures.
Exactly.
But this is a very unique, and I'm so happy that I'm associated with this book and with you, that it's so different, and I can go about and recommend it to so many people. Even I know that this book is available in Hindi and English, and both. Like I'm just to share the information with my friends who are watching. So Hindi and English, and you can actually purchase your copy from Amazon. And soon we are going to list these copies on our online bookstore as well. So I'll share more updates on that. But meanwhile, if you want to grab a copy of Nita Bajoria's Urban Chronicles graphic novel, either in Hindi or in English language, so you can visit Amazon and get yourself a copy. This has been published by B Books. And yes, so Urban Chronicles, it's contemporary, uh, contemporary short stories, collection of three short stories, and this is the first book of the series, I believe. So
Yes.
how many, is there a plan? Like, do you have a number? Like, how many, uh, how many series you want Urban Chronicles to come up with, or it's like it's open right now?
It's open. I mean, it's infinite. I would like to go with it as long as I can, because that's
Right.
the plan.
And short stories are very easy. Like I have seen that it's very um, appealing to people who want to read but do not have the time to read, because it's the stories they can actually read them while commuting, or maybe while on a break. They can finish one story and then they can come back to the other story whenever they have time, unlike a full length novel. So
Absolutely.
these I think the idea is really fantastic. And like, Nita, out of these three stories, is there any one particular story which is more close to a real life incident, or is influenced? I'm sure all of them are influenced by real life incidents, but which is the most closest to a real life
Well,
incident?
as you rightly said, all the stories are close to my heart, and it's very difficult to decide. And all of them are, I mean, I always write based on what I see around. It's not that maybe exactly the full story is exactly what I saw, but each will have a lot of things which I saw from here and there, and then I had done that. Though Mrs. Ramchandran is pretty close to my heart, because there when I wrote that, I found a character in Mrs. Ramchandran, and in my future Urban Chronicle series, you will find more stories based on Mrs.
Um,
Ramchandran as a character,
okay.
and the entire in that story there is a group of women,
Right,
GBG, exactly.
right,
So
right,
that
right.
I'm going to repeat, because I found that's quite
Okay.
interesting, and like on that platform, I can work more. And I've already
Right, right.
written two more stories on that, and they will come up in the next. So I was very glad to find a new character. So very close
So
to my
this
heart.
group that you mentioned, GVG, I think it's very similar and everyone would relate to it because every Indian society has one such group of aunties or um, ladies who are actually very much interested to know what's going on. In fact, to be very honest, I keep to myself and in my real life, and I hardly go out of my house. And there are these aunties, every time I step outside, they will be like, "Why do you keep indoors? Why not?" And they are like so worried and so bothered. So I know I myself can relate. And like when I was sleeping through, I was having this smile on my face because I know there will be so many people who would be relating to all these stories, especially the last one. And I look forward to reading more of um, them and
Mrs.
their
Ramchandran and her group.
and her group, right? Exactly. So moving to the leap. Um this is your science fiction. It's a young adult science fiction. Again, I must say that even though it's a science fiction, it does not necessarily talk about gizmos, gadgets, technology, but then I think it talks more about human relations and their quest to find, like here, the group is trying to find another place, another planet to go and start, like human race is extincting, so they want to go and start the life over there. So I think it's very unlike um, any science fiction, especially written by Indian authors. And I'm a huge science fiction fan, so I read whatever I can grab my hands on, and I think it's very the story is very intriguing, and it's something that I would like to read. Like it talks about what will happen if this is this. What happens to the
Yeah.
human race? So tell me more about what went behind you writing The Leap and like your inspiration or anything that you would like to share about it.
Yeah, so as I said that I was into short stories when suddenly I came across a magazine and where I saw that somebody from India has been selected for to go for a one side Mars mission. So I was
Exactly,
like,
right,
yeah, so I was intrigued. I said, what it is this all about? I had not heard about such a thing before that in this magnitude. So I was thinking, okay. So I read about it and then I researched about it, and that made me and not the fact that they're going to Mars, because we keep talking about people going to Mars. Will someday we will be multiplanetary and all that. But then when
right.
I researched all that, what struck me is that why would anyone want to leave whatever there is there on Earth, leaving their dear ones, to go on a one-way mission to Mars? Now, then realized when I saw that that guy from India had agreed to go, I thought, okay, so what might have went inside his life? What might have happened that have convinced him, led him to take this
Hmm,
step?
hmm,
Because going to another planet and then what will happen is a very far-fetched thing. But before that, you have to be
hmm.
prepared to go. Now, that is the
Mentally
first step,
prepared,
mentally
right.
prepared, exactly.
Absolute.
So, what makes you think that you can really leave everything and go? Because
Hmm, hmm,
going from just shifting your business or your job from one place to another takes a lot of thinking. You have to think about, okay, your kids, this.
hmm.
Then, if you leave your
Exactly.
wife, your parents, your children, like this is not a very small thing. It must have been
Right.
like the way you are migrating from Earth to Mars, there is more to it, like migrating from your inside, the migration that is happening inside you, how you are thinking of migrating from your situations, what situations led to you migrating to that state of mind where you can say yes to a mission like that. So
Hmm,
that
hmm.
is where I started researching about all those people who have even tried to like applied for this mission. And then I
Hmm,
had a
hmm.
talk with them on Facebook chat and I made friends with
Okay.
them. And then I
Okay.
found out such amazing stories behind it. And I was really intrigued and I tried to find out through what they said that what might have happened underwent in their mind, and I wrote
Hmm.
this book. So that was the inspiration behind this book.
So that sounds really great, and I'm sure there's so much more to it. And once we read it, we'll get to know. So I again request everyone to get your copy of The Leap by Nita Bajoria, and it's available on Amazon. And soon we are going to also list this on our online bookstore. So I'm going to share about that later when we do that. So Nita, would you like to read anything for us, like today, if there are any
Yeah, yeah. I
favorite
would.
lines or anything?
Yes, I would like to read something from my book Leap itself.
All
Uh,
right, okay,
okay. So this is chapter 10 from Leap. I'm trying to read and hold this together, so maybe it
okay,
will
okay,
shake a
okay,
little. Okay.
no problem.
Advancing along the coal dust coated tracks north of Nanaimo, BC, Olivia felt magical. Her aching thighs, her feet full of blisters, and all her worries and apprehensions took a backseat. She was on her own. As the slanting rays of summer sun glimmered on her blue gleaming eyes, passing through her streaked greenish black hair, she giggled with pleasure and joy. She winked and smiled back at herself naughtily. She threw open her slender arms, welcoming the new Olivia, who had lain hidden inside so long, and stood like that until her heart was filled with bliss. The trees around looked like close friends, encouraging her to share all her emotions, good or bad, white or black, or grey for that matter. She had a long way to go, but she could surely rest a bit to enjoy the remarkable fusion of engineered topography and wild nature the railway tracks offered. How strangely they resemble life. The two parallel rails were like the two opposite facades of our life, things we like and things we do not, bound tightly by everyday circumstances. They went hand in hand. The meandering tracks met other tracks at times, went with them to some extent, and then they diverged, only to meet yet another ones, creating albums of precious memories. Life went on, waiting for none. However, in every nook and cranny was a lesson to collect, like a treasure hunt. Through the dirt, at places, the steel rails glistened and shone against the black dust. The shock absorber stones looked like the numerous small but precious moments of happiness in one's life, balancing and entirely depending on the track. We move along from one destination to another in search of the real person within.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
reading for us. And it seems like once Olivia is back, this is what she's feeling. Okay, all right, great. So, do you did you have to do much research on Mars as well for writing this book? Like, because it talks about Mars and people, going and landing on Mars. So, did you have to read about the planet as well,
Yes.
or any research for
Yes,
that?
yes, a lot of research, because when you're writing about it, though it's a background, but then people in
Hmm,
the characters in your story, they're talking about it, and
hmm,
in
hmm,
my story there's a scientist, and there is a entrepreneur who is doing this mission. So I actually had some conversation, or I followed a few scientists like Robert Zubrin and all those who are working on the Mars mission. I
hmm,
followed
hmm.
them. I just read about whatever they are doing and all that. Of course, you have to. So that was very
Right.
interesting as well, because I learned a lot of new things too.
Yes, absolutely. And how long did it take for you to start with the first draft and getting to your final manuscript? How
Yeah, so
long was?
so I completed the first draft in say 1.5 years, and then it took me
Okay.
equally 1.5 years to edit it because there were so many things into it, which, like when you write at the first go, you just write, write,
Hmm,
write,
hmm,
write,
hmm.
write.
Right,
Then you go
right, right.
back and see, okay, the link is proper or not, or whatever is missing. So, and then yeah, I used to it also took a lot of time, because you cannot actually write continuously about one topic. So in
Hmm,
between, I used to
right,
switch to my short stories to take a break and then come
right,
back to
right,
the story. So it took me 3 years in total to write this novel.
right. Great. So I'll take a moment to read out the comments, and I also request my friends who are watching, if you have any questions or anything that you would like to share with Neeta or me, just leave on the comments and I'll read them out. There is someone who has said her name is Kavita that I've read, and the book is really good.
Wow, thank you
Uh,
so
then
much.
and I think that's about it. So thanks for joining us. Um, Thanks everyone, whoever is watching us. Thank you for joining us. And this is Neeta Bajoria. I'm talking to Neeta Bajoria about her books, Urban Chronicles and The Leap. All her books are available on Amazon. Urban Chronicles is also available in Hindi. So grab yourself a copy. Urban Chronicles is a graphic novel, and The Leap is a science fiction. So do not waste further time. So, coming back to Neeta, how do you unwind? Like, how does Neeta Bajoria unwind when she's not writing or working?
So, well, obviously, reading is one of the ways I unwind and kind of I relax. Maybe I meet with some of my friends, though I do not have a very wide group of friends, but I have a few who are very close to my heart. Then I would like maybe going to a spa or just, like having coffee with friends. That's the way I enjoy.
So, if I may ask you, what are you reading currently? Would you like to share?
Yeah, I'm reading. There's a book called uh, Adrian Mole and Mass Destruction. Wait, something like
Okay,
that. And it's by
okay,
Sue Townsend. So this is an awesome book. It's very hilarious, and I'm loving it. I love reading
okay.
humor books a lot.
Yes, yes,
I am also
absolutely.
reading. I read two, three books at a time. So I'm also reading a PG Woodhouse parallelly. So it's that.
Yes, great. So, I would like to know the names of the books so that I can share them on our storyboard. And if anyone wants to take a look and read them, so they can go through it. So I'll consult with you later after the session
Yes,
is over,
sure,
and I'll take the
definitely.
name.
Definitely.
I'll also share about all the books of yours so on our storyboard, so that any of our friends who wish to go through, they can refer and they can
That would
come
be
back
wonderful.
and yes. So no problem. So I think, Anita, we are towards the end of this session.
Session.
But before wrapping up, I have one final question, and that is, what is your upcoming project? Would you like to share a sneak peek from anything that you are working on currently?
Definitely. Right now, Urban Chronicles 2, it's on its way. We have the
Okay,
work is all done, and we are just waiting for the for certain things, the last moment things. And by I think April, it will come out, Urban Chronicles
okay,
2. And after it comes out,
okay.
obviously, I'll just start translating it into Hindi. And
Hindi.
I'm already working for Urban Chronicles 3. And
Okay,
apart from that, this is about the Urban Chronicles series. Apart from that, there
series.
is a novella.
Okay,
There's a couple of novella. It's a two novella, book of two novellas, which is there with
okay,
lead start. So
okay,
that is in the stage of editing and proofreading. So once it is
okay.
done, maybe by the end of this year or something, that will also come out. So look forward
Great.
to
So
that.
I'm yes. So I'm actually excited about Urban Chronicles' second book, which is about to release in April, and then your novella, your two novellas collection towards the end of this year. So all my best wishes for all your books, all your work, uh, as well as your published books, which are with me as well. The title. So thank you, Deeta, for joining
Thank
me
you. Thank you
today.
so much.
And I'm so
My
glad that
pleasure.
absolutely my honor to have a chat with you. And I'm so glad that we could do this today. And I'm sure we'll have another session soon, in a
Definitely.
couple of days. And then we can talk about more of Urban Chronicles 2. And that's it. Thank you so much, Nita. Take
Thank you.
care.
Thank you so much. Bye
Have
bye.
a lovely Sunday ahead. Bye.
You too have a lovely day, and you made my Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye. And all of you, thank you so much for being a part of it, for listening to what I said and being there. Bye bye.
So, friends, that was Neeta Bajoria, the author of Urban Chronicles and Dilip. Both these are available in Amazon, so get yourselves your copy. Urban Chronicles is a graphic novel and it is also available in Hindi. And The Leap is a science fiction and it's a young adult science fiction. It's also available in Amazon, and soon both these titles will be available on our online bookstore. But then before, I'll share more updates about that later when we list. But before that, if you want to have these copies, visit Amazon. Before I say goodbye to you, our Women's Day sale is going to be announced today. So go through our storyboard, Instagram storyboard to check out that. And also don't forget to visit our online bookstore, www.myscreenbookshelf.co.in. So till then, take care. I'll be again, I'll see you next Sunday with another guest probably. But then till then, take care. Happy reading. Happy Sunday. Bye.